views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Welcome to the New York City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce annual Information Technology Seminar. We are doing this in partnership with Bronx Tech Meetup, and we're being sponsored by JP Chase today. So thank you, JP Chase. My name is Eileen Guzzo. I'm the president of Donnelly & Moore, an IT consulting firm, and I'm also the IT chairperson to the New York City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We have been hosting this type of seminars on an annual basis or biannual basis sometimes with the intent to serve our Hispanic business community and share our knowledge as businesses with each other, because as a small business owner, I know that in order to grow, we need to support each other as businesses. It is the only way actually we can grow. So before we begin, I would like to invite the founder of Bronx Tech Meetup and Startup Box, Ms. Majora Carter, to come up and say a few words.
Hello, everybody, and welcome, welcome, welcome. I feel like I can welcome you to a whole bunch of to a whole bunch of things, because we're standing in the building that belongs to one of my clients. We do consulting, business consulting, and we're really excited about this. But where we're sitting right now, this is the Bruckner building. And for those of you that don't know, the managing partner of the folks that owns this is actually a technologist in his old life before development, and is really well positioned to make sure that this building is set up to support the new tech economy here in the South Bronx. So it's like, seriously? If you're interested, this is very good, reasonable space for anybody that's interested in doing tech here. So that's me, so I'll take my consultant hat off and just say welcome. Also, if you're not from the Bronx, welcome to the Boogie Down Bronx. And also, as one of the co-founders of the Bronx Tech Meetup, it was one of those things back in 2014 when, as people who are working on developing tech here, we really didn't understand, just how deep the tech community was here. We honestly thought we were going to have it in my office over in Hunts Point, and that we'd be able to have to host it in my conference room, which has 10 seats. Turns out our very first tech meetup had well over 100 people showing up, because we realized that the Bronx tech ecosystem is alive and strong. And it's getting stronger. And so now our little tech meetup, which started with just me and my co-founder Tina Shoulders, is now more than 800 strong. So never, ever, ever say that there isn't something out there for technology here in the Bronx, because it is. So we're excited about that as well. I'm also a co-founder of Startup Box, which is a tech social enterprise that literally is working to urban onshore tech jobs, in the software services industry, and doing it, and again, supporting Bronx people by giving them their first entry-level job into the tech economy, and with career ladders to boot. So it is really exciting to be here, in particular, as knowing that we're partnering with the New York City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, which has been around for decades at this point, and really working to support, small business development here all around the city, but in particular, as a Bronx girl, I'm really excited about that. So I just wanted to give a great big shout out, to its founder, Nick Lugo, and I know you're in here somewhere, and just thank you. Oh, you're right there. Cool. And that beautiful pink shirt. I was like, way to go. And also to Sulma Arzu-Brown, there you go, who's just been this remarkable force of nature here in the Bronx in supporting, Hispanic businesses and everybody around in New York City to really push the development of that. So we're super happy that we're here. And also Sulma, truth be told, she is also a partner in the Boogie Down Grind Cafe, thank you, her family, as well, as being one of the first people to literally push the idea that we can create more economic development that is by us and for us in our own communities and be a part of that trend. And also JP Morgan Chase, who has been a very strong supporter of development of the tech economy in what many folks like to consider marginalized communities, and really recognizing that we are a part of the tech economy and giving folks the resources to do so. So I don't know who's here from JP Morgan Chase, but where are you? Raise your hand. Hi. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it on both a personal and a professional level for what you guys have been up to. And also to our moderator, Eileen Guzzo, thank you so much for bringing your effervescent personality here all the way from, where are you from again? There you go. Thank you. I knew it was a long way away. But anyway, so beautiful. And thank you for always just being as supportive as you are of us as a borough. And with that, get on back up here, girl. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Majora. I wanted to invite next someone that was not on the program, but the New York City Controller wanted to do a quick outreach tonight. Patty Dayleg, who works for the Controller Scott Stringer, has a few words for us.
Thank you, Eileen. So thank you so much to the Hispanic Chamber and to Bronx Tech Meetup for allowing me to make this announcement. My name is Patty Dayleg. I'm the Policy and Outreach Diversity Officer for the New York City Controller Scott Stringer. And I wanted to just let you all know that we have an event coming up on September 27th, and I do have flyers. This event is for folks who want to do business with New York City by becoming either a reseller for HP or Lenovo, or kind of an implementation partner for either of those companies, or for Cisco. So the city buys millions of dollars worth of these services and products, and if you want to get in on that, then this is the event for you. It turns out that only 1 in 5 or so of Lenovo, Cisco, and HP's vendors are people of color or women, and so we really want to diversify that list, and we really want to give that opportunity to people like you. So please do come see me. At some point I'll be sitting in the back, and come take a flyer. Thanks.
Okay, so I just wanted to thank again Ms. Carter for speaking this afternoon, and again, JP Morgan Chase, of course. Let me see, where am I? The next speaker is going to be Lancelot Chase from Startup Box. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Startup Box. It's a social enterprise created by Majora Carter and James Chase. It is designed to increase opportunities to the South Bronx community members to be a part of the tech community, as Majora was sharing with us earlier, by creating a technology and entrepreneurial ecosystem in the South Bronx. What they do is test games and other software across different platforms, and also do a lot of quality assurance at the end of the process. So please help me welcome Lancelot Chase, Chief Technology Officer for Startup.
Hey. Hi, everybody. I'm Lancelot Chase, CTO Startup Box. And I see a lot of familiar faces in here, actually. So thank you, New York City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, for having me. And I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the importance of quality assurance. Now, if there are people in the audience that don't know what that is, quality assurance is pretty much testing of game software, anything. Anything that is created by any company has to go through rigorous testing before it's out to the public. So everybody in here looks pretty enterprising. I'm sure maybe the next Uber is rattling around in somebody's mind. But the truth is, a good idea cannot live in an echo chamber. It has to be under scrutiny at some point, especially if you want to put it out to the public for mass consumption. What QA represents is that. It's that scrutiny on a trained level for your product or software or website. Quality assurance is incredibly important. I've been in QA for about 7 years, and the reality of creating anything that is technology-based, that is going to be rated by people or downloaded by people, is it doesn't matter how hotshot the developers you hire are. A lot of people make that mistake in assuming that because I hire somebody who knows every single coding language, there's no way that my software is ever going to fail. That is simply not true. What we focus on in Startup Box is really bringing back the human element to testing. We find mass importance in doing that. There are plenty of things that automated programs can do for your testing. But what they can't do is give you a feel. They can't give you the UI and UX feedback that is really, really important and integral to a lot of our culturally sensitive programs and applications that are put out right now. So quality assurance as a whole is a cornerstone of technology, and I think it's not going anywhere. I would like to hope that companies like mine, people like me, and all of my employees continue to grow the idea and the usage of this. If I could show you a little bit, a story. I heard James actually telling a friend over here about that. So we were testing a game for, I think it was I can't even remember the company, but the game was called New Hero Sam. It was on Nick, and it was a UK adaptation of one of these funny, kind of cool little Nick Jr. shows. It was, for all intents and purposes, a children's game, children's property, educational property. One of the things that we do when we do our quality assurance process, aside from making sure that the negative testing is done, negative is just looking for bugs. Positive is searching for functionality. Does it work? We go deeper than that, and we look into even the social media of these games. So we were checking out their Twitter, and we realized that the Twitter was actually linked to a parody account that was using this childlike animation for pornographic things. The company did not catch that. It was out for about 2 years running. By the time we got our hands on it, they didn't even know that it was there. So that's what I was speaking to as far as the human element of quality assurance and why it's important. Automation wouldn't have been able to see that, but our eyes and the people that we pay to test are capable of doing so. Yeah, so that's, to me, a little bit about the importance of QA. I can't wait till you can all run up to me and ask me questions about all of the stuff you don't understand later. I'll be around sitting right there, and thank you once again.
Lancelot, thank you very much. You seem to be a super smart and intelligent guy. We'd like to learn more about QA from you. Next, I would like to invite from JP Morgan Chase, Ms. Ileana van der Linde, the Executive Director of JP Morgan Private Bank, Asset Management, and the lead for the Cybersecurity Awareness Program. We also want to thank Ileana tonight, Michelle Henry from the Office of Nonprofit Engagement, who was highly instrumental in putting this program together with us tonight. But we're very happy to hear from Ileana tonight on personal cybersecurity, which we're all interested in. Actually, I think I was hacked through Equifax last week, so I'm personally very interested in what you have to say about this. Ileana's presentation is usually 45 minutes long. She's going to keep it to 15 minutes tonight, but we are hoping that we can have her as a speaker again, and she can really elaborate more. So before we give Ileana the microphone, I just wanted to say that we'll hold all of our questions for the very end of the program. Thank you, Ileana.
Hi, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here tonight. Thank you to the Hispanic Chamber. As I said, or was just said, I head up the Cybersecurity Awareness Program for Asset and Wealth Management within JP Morgan. And certainly this is a timely presentation about Equifax, and I'm going to address that at the very end. But I want to give you a little bit of background, because even though we're now dealing with the Equifax hack, and it's been a big wake-up call for people, hacks have been happening for quite a while, right? This is something that is not new for me, right? It's all of a sudden now everybody's kind of paying attention, or paying more attention. There is not an industry that has not been affected by cybersecurity and by hacks, all right? And if there's any bank out there that tells you they haven't been hacked, they're lying. Right? Every financial institution, every bank is constantly dealing with this. At JP Morgan, we spend about $600 million a year on cybersecurity. We have over 1,000 people dedicated to this full time. All right? This is something we take very seriously. We have global operating centers that are constantly watching where things are coming in. Now, what the hackers have figured out is, okay, JP Morgan has shored up its resources, is spending a lot of money on cybersecurity. So where do they go? They can't seem to quite get through the doors of JP Morgan. Where do they go next? Downstream, the clients, exactly. They go to the weaker links in the chain, right? They go to the law offices. They go to the clients themselves, right? They're figuring out, where do I go personally? And then they get in. Now somebody, was saying, well, who are these hackers? What do they do? There are different groups of hackers and they all have different jobs. This is not just one type of person. There is perhaps your college student, right, who might be hacking in, or a high school student who might say, I want to improve my grade. Maybe I can get into the school system. Maybe go from an A- to an A+, right? Teachers should keep paper records. Then we have, on the opposite extreme, you have nation states. Can't help but see things in the newspaper about Russia, Ukraine, China, it doesn't matter, right? Fill in the blank. And they're usually looking for information that they can leverage against and blackmail other countries, right? Or use industrial information. Most of us are impacted by the hackers in the middle that just do this for financial gain, okay? This is their full-time job, right? And they're different hackers on different levels. I'm going to tell you this so that you just also understand what it's about. There are groups of hackers that just harvest emails, right? That's their full-time job. They harvest emails and they resell them. It's like, auto parts, car parts, right? The next group of people take the emails and they start building profiles. What is attached to this email? Oh, this person shops here. That person shops there. Oh, this is their frequent flyer. Oh, this is their bank. They use this email here. They use that email there. They start building profiles. And then they rate them. Once they figure out, okay, I've got this email, and I have a cell phone that's also attached to this email. Oh, because they use it at CVS. They enter that as their frequent, user number. All this information you have in one place. They rate these things, and then they resell them to other people who take the profiles and work them. Right? There are other people who go, let me get the 3-star profiles. I'll work them. I'll work the 4-star or the 5-star profiles. We want you to become a 1-star profile, right? Don't want your information out there. Now, one gentleman told me this evening, I don't do anything online. I don't want to have any of my information out there. The sad thing is that your information is out there, right? Whether you go shopping at a drugstore and you enter your information, you go and say, oh, I don't want the receipt. Email it to me, right? All that stuff. Let's think about your doctor's office. What do you put down on the form? Social Security, your email, next of kin, everything. How about Aunt Lydia that's working Ancestry.com? She's painstakingly putting in every detail. Your birth date, your mother's maiden name, all that information, okay? Right? The children's birth dates, where they were born, everything, right? Super. We're going to figure out everything about our family. Well, it's a hacker's delight, right? To think that your information isn't out there already is a mistake. So, I did agree I would be happy to come back because I could go on for a full hour about this, but I'm going to say one thing that I just alluded to. How many people in this room have more than 2 email addresses? Good. 3 email addresses? 4 email addresses? Oh, I'm liking this group in the back here. 5 email addresses? Okay, 6, 7. Oh, I'm liking you over here. All right, why is that important? Because you want to diversify your cyber risk, okay? Just like your advisor at your bank might tell you you shouldn't just pick one investment, you don't want to have all your information in one email. If you have a business email address, you should only use that for business, okay? Nothing else. If you have a personal email that has your name in it, right? You're making yourself a full target. Maria Smith at yahoo.com, and you use that everywhere you go. That's giving the hacker all the information of all the points of contact. You want to create other email addresses that do not have your name in it, okay? ilovebluecars@gmail.com. It doesn't identify you by name, or by race, gender, age, nothing, okay? When Target gets, and you want to use something like that at Target, at Amazon, any place you go shopping, don't use an email with your name in it. If they get hacked, right, and you don't tell anybody that email address either. If they get hacked, you delete that email, and I hate bluecars@gmail.com. You create a new one. How much does email cost? Free, yes, free, zero. Cost you nothing, right? You can create emails all day long, right? And you want to use them for specific purposes. The other thing is passwords, okay? Because most people have emails, right? And they think, oh, but who would want anything? This is where people say, who would want anything that I have? I don't have anything. Do you have $1,000 in your savings account you're willing to lose? $10,000 in your savings account you're willing to lose? 100,000? I got people for you, right? Everybody has something that's worth losing, or that is of value to them. So I would say, don't think you're too small for a hacker. They're out there making millions off big people and little people as well. So passwords, I would just say, make sure you're using different passwords on different sites. Figure out a core password. If you're sitting there and say, my dog's name, I can't have any other password but my dog's name because I love my dog. Can't think of anything else. Bad, very bad, right? How do we take your bad password? Let's say your dog or your cat's name is Fluffy, right? Fluffy is protecting your wealth. That's your password? So if I take Fluffy, 123, and I put a suffix on it, and I say on Amazon, Fluffy123_shop, right? I can always keep my core password. If I'm booking a car service, Fluffy123_car, right? Fluffy_food for Grubhub or anything like that, or a food service. Don't use the same password in every place because that's what hackers are counting on. They have automated tools that can look up and figure out your password in seconds, all right, in any language. So if you think you're putting it in Spanish and you're fooling the hackers, no, okay? That's not going to work, right? They have automated tools. While they're making themselves a snack in the kitchen, this automated tool is running through all the email addresses, typing in all the typical passwords. Bling, bling, bling. That thing's going off and going, I got lots of accounts to look at. So, putting a little fear in you, hopefully, to just think about how you protect yourself. And email and password are core. So those are things, just think about that. We've got lots more tips for you. The other thing I wanted to just address is obviously the Equifax hack. 143 million people impacted, right? A lot of people say, well, I put my thing in the website when it worked and it said I wasn't impacted. Or other people say, assume your information has been hacked. Just assume it. Because there are a lot of false positives going on. If you put Mickey Mouse in that site, he's been hacked, okay? If we're seeing people who, within half an hour, they put their information in. One says, you weren't hacked. The other one says, you were. So just assume you've been hacked. With 143 million people, I'm sure. We have a flyer. One of the first and most important things you can do with this Equifax hack is to freeze your credit. You may have seen that in the news, and I'll just explain what this is. There is fraud alerts that you can get on your credit accounts, all right? Fraud alerts. To me, it's like telling you that the accident has happened. Oh, somebody has used your credit, right? Somebody has tried to open an account in your name. Tells you that an accident has happened. Freezing your credit basically locks it down so no one can open up a new account in your name unless you unlock or unfreeze the credit. It goes way beyond the monitoring, all right? It's basically preventing the accident from happening in the first place. We have these flyers over on the side that give instructions. You have to call every single credit agency and say, I'd like to freeze my credit. What this does is it freezes your credit number at that point, at a point in time. If the hacker has your social, tries to apply for a credit card or buy a vehicle or something else, they can't do it. It doesn't even come up. If you buy a vehicle, refinance a mortgage, or do anything else, you have to unfreeze your credit temporarily with that agency. So let's say I'm buying a car. I ask them, which agency would you be using? And they say, Experian. I unfreeze my credit. It might cost me $3, and then for 48 hours, and then I freeze it again. This really prevents anything from happening. You'll see it a lot in the news, but I wanted to just explain a little bit what that actually is, okay? Check your credit reports. I've checked mine at all three. I find interesting information across all three that are not common. I have found employers that I've never worked for. I have found all kinds of information on my credit reports where I go, where did this come from, right? So don't think that the information on all three credit reports is going to be the same. Obviously, monitor your accounts, but here's the thing that the hackers are counting on. They're counting on the fact that right now everybody is up in arms. They've put this stuff, first of all, on ice for about 3 months. In 3 months, right, people are going to go, oh, I didn't see anything happen. I didn't have any accounts open. In 3 months, I guarantee you're going to start seeing all this stuff being used. They wait for people to forget. Maybe they do it during the holidays or something like that. They will use this information. So we just want you to be prepared. We also have some additional information, some flyers about things that you can do for your business. Certainly, you want to watch out for social engineering, people that are calling your business or trying to send you phishing emails, so information on that. Malware, how to also prevent ransomware. So there's lots more where this came from, but I also understand that my time here is limited today. I'm happy to answer questions later, but I hope at least just a little bit of this put a bit of fear in you. If you're not yet paranoid, you should be. I encourage it because it'll keep you a lot more, you got to think that somebody's out to get you, right? And if you keep that in mind, you'll maybe probably make better decisions about where you put your information and data. Okay? All righty. Thanks very much. There we go. Oh, perfect. Okay. Thank you so much. Good.
All right, thank you so much, Ileana. We'll definitely have a few questions for you. And our next speaker is going to be Noelle Santos and she's going to be speaking on crowdfunding success. Noelle Santos is just a few steps away from opening up a lit bar here in the Bronx. It's going to be a combination of bookstore and a wine bar. What a great combination. I want to tell you a little bit about Noelle. Noelle is a big entrepreneur, and recently, in 2016, she won an award called the NYPL 2016 New York Startup Business Plan Competition. She's operating her 500-member book club, large club, and running a successful crowdfunding campaign with over $150,000, all the while being a certified HR professional as well. So she's a busy lady. And she will be speaking today on crowdfunding success. She has been featured on several media outlets, some of which include Forbes, The Today Show, Essence, Glamour, Ebony, Latina, and the Huffington Post. Thank you, Noelle. If you hold the microphone like this and you don't touch the button, don't touch this area.
Okay, thank you. Hi, thank you for that wonderful introduction. Thank you for having me. My name is Noelle Santos. I'm from Soundview right here in the Bronx, and this October will make my 10th year living in Crotona Park East, all from the Bronx. How many of you are aspiring entrepreneurs or thinking about scaling a business? Okay. How many of you are considering crowdfunding Good. So, a little background, because I'm limited on time. October 2014, I'm wasting my life away on Facebook, and I come across a petition saying that the Barnes & Noble that existed in Bay Plaza in the Northeast Bronx is in jeopardy of closing. I signed the petition, I got some friends to sign the petition, and I didn't feel better. So in that moment, I decided that I was going to do something about it. I'm going to open a bookstore. It was an instant decision. Spoke to me in my language as an avid reader. I didn't know the first thing about opening bookstores or funding businesses or business planning. So I decided to take advantage of a business plan competition, which was the New York Public Library's New York Startup Business Plan Competition. And I came in second place. I won $8,000. I thought I was on top of the world. I started going to look for spaces, and reality set in on how much this was going to actually cost. I came up with like $300,000, and I was like, wow. How many of you are looking at your startup costs like, how am I going to get this money? So I decided to interview people who have been where I am. So that included other booksellers, other entrepreneurs, and wanted to really dig into their different methods of funding their businesses. Initially, I've heard of crowdfunding before, and I thought it was so tacky. You're a for-profit business, and you're crowdfunding. You're asking for you're like begging for money out here. Like, it was creepy to me. But then I spoke to people who have done it, and asked them some tough questions, and I decided that crowdfunding was for me, because the reality was that if I didn't get this money, the dream was not going to happen. I was not going to be able to afford that much debt. So I made the reluctant decision to crowdfund, and I'm so glad that I did. So the two things that I want to talk about are the things that have served me well in this journey. As was mentioned in my presentation, I had gone on to raise over $160,000. So the two things that I will accredit to my crowdfunding success are authenticity and pre-gaming. So I'll start with my pre-game plan. One of those things was going around and interviewing everyone who has been in my shoes of needing to raise money. And I asked them really tough questions about crowdfunding, about how, what was the experience like for them? What would you do differently if you can do the whole crowdfunding experience over again? What type of commitment did you have to make? What type of, time commitment does this take? Self-awareness was so important because I work a full-time job. My background is accounting and human resources, and everything that I saw online said that I needed to be in the streets handing out flyers, and I needed to follow all these rules. And I don't have time to be standing in the street handing out flyers, asking people to donate to my crowdfund. So pre-gaming was really important. So part of the process that before I even asked for $1, I built up momentum in my community in advance. And some of the things that I did was starting my book club, which gave me a foundation of readers in my community that I can serve in advance, learning my market. And that book club was supposed to be like a 10-person focus group, and it has flourished into now 530 members today. And we meet in person, and it's crazy. We meet right across the street at My Haven Bar and Grill or wherever we can get space. So that was really important in my journey, is building my email list. And I did that by doing different events in my community, from the Bronx Museum of the Arts Holiday Market, anywhere that I could set up a table and collect email addresses and put my message out to the world. I did this months in advance of asking for $1. I knew that I was gonna have to leverage social media like no other because I did not have the manpower. I'm a team of one. I did not have the manpower to go out and collect money. So I would, sorry, I was distracted by an outside sound. So I knew I didn't have the manpower, so I would take advantage of social media, talking about my dreams and encouraging people, letting people know who I was on my blog. I'm Latina, I'm African American, I'm a reader, and we're underserved, not even underserved, but unserved population here as readers and building, a hub for literature in the Bronx. So I put that message out there to attract, the people that I hope to be serving one day. And what I got out of that was so much more than the money. I was able to test my market through crowdfunding because the people who contributed to my campaign, I now know where they live and where now I have an idea where I need to put my business. Starting that book club, I know the demographics of who is going to show up. How to best serve them. Is the music going to be too loud? Do we need to have separate checks? What type of food? These are ways that I tested my market. A second thing that has served me amazingly well is authenticity. Now, I presented my crowdfunding campaign as myself. I'm a bookstore in 2017 in an Amazon world asking for $100,000. I knew that it was going to take more than just being a head on a screen asking for this money. So I decided to show up as myself, and that meant speaking the way I speak, dressing the way I dress, in the lingo, everything. Showing up as myself to set myself apart. So I went to Westchester, where I'm, Westchester Avenue, in Soundview, where I'm from, stood in front of a graffiti mural, and I rapped my pitch. And I know not everybody's gonna, I know everybody's not a rapper. I'm from the South Bronx, so it's just in my blood, but I know I'm wired different. But I want anybody who's considering crowdfunding to tap into what makes you unique. When I drove myself crazy, looking at statistics, what's the best time to post? What should I wear in the video? What should my background be? And what should the background be? And I threw all that away to show up as my authentic self, because being special and who I am and speaking the way I speak, and I had on a t-shirt, I had on a hoodie, ripped up jeans, hoop earrings. I showed up as myself. And that served me extremely well. My market gravitated towards me. Not everybody was crazy about it. Like, who does this girl think, this girl's not qualified, but enough people, my market enjoyed it. And that is what matters. Is there any questions? Or are we saving questions for the end? Okay, we're saving questions for the end. I know I'm very wordy. So those are the two things that I'm pre-gaming, and definitely my authenticity has served me well. How am I doing on time? 3 minutes? Okay. So I'm going to wrap it up. If anybody wants to talk more about crowdfunding, if you're interested in crowdfunding a business, I have lots of information on my methods of marketing my crowdfunding campaign, but that's going to take some time. So I'm going to pass it to the next speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Noel. Thank you very much. Quite inspiring story. Next, we're going to have Andrea Giraldo. Andrea is going to share tonight on social media and business etiquette. She actually owns 3 separate companies. First, Andesca, which is a consulting agency. Second, Giraldo Farms, which is an importing coffee company from Colombia. Great coffee, I've tasted it. And thirdly, she owns A&G Trading, which is a distribution company. She has been, for the last 15 years, helping people start up new businesses and existing businesses ramp up their businesses. She's a creative thinker and an entrepreneur at heart, holds a degree in advertising from Parsons, has also a degree in business and economic development from Fordham University. She is considered an expert in training, strategic management, marketing, and international trade, and we very much look forward to hearing a little bit about social media and business etiquette from Andrea.
Oh, thank you. So I'll signal you to... Oh. Okay, well, thank you, Eileen, for that great presentation and the Chamber for having me this evening. And as she mentioned, we're going to be talking a little bit about social media and business etiquette. So social media, as most of you know, at its core is about connecting. It connects people to people, people to businesses, businesses to businesses. And if you could please pass on. Yes. So when you start your social media, be it for business or personal, in this connection process, we start by being interested, right? Setting up something attractive for our clients or the people that we're looking to connect with. We want to start a conversation. You know, sometimes you do posts where you ask questions. Maybe you have a trivia. More of being interesting. And always the purpose of sharing. You want to share a message, you'd like to share information, you'd like to share an image. If you could please pass on. So that's the basic of setting up your social media. But when we start mixing in business etiquette, now we start opening up our eyes. This is no longer our personal social media, it's our business social media. So just as you would do at a business meeting, there's certain rules and etiquette in behaving. The same goes for your social media. So these are just a few, because I could go on and on and on, and even this might be a bit long for this evening, but we'll try to get through as much as we can. So the rule number one I suggest is think before you post. Think if this is relevant to your business, okay? We don't just want to post for the sake of posting. We want to make sure that it relates to what we're doing. Make sure that, you know, the image that you have has a good resolution. Because if other people are starting to reshare and send to their families and maybe even post to a cousin who's in another country through WhatsApp, you know, you want to make sure that everything is well presented. The second rule is to respond to all comments and fast. Now, the good comments we all love, right? Everyone likes to hear nice things about themselves. Unfortunately, bad ones do come along, and I'm sure many of you have experienced this. Either you're yourselves leaving a little note for the person at the register at Target, or, you know, a shoe that fell apart while you were walking. Every company, every organization must address every single comment, good or bad, regardless of the nature. And even for this, just because social media and the internet, and as we said at the beginning, it's about communicating and connecting, you want to have that two-way street. So in order to ensure this, there should be someone within your organization that is assigned to be on the lookout within all your social media platforms, you know, of what is going on and who is posting and what is, you know, appearing on your pages. Because, and again, as customers, you've had that feeling where you've created a post or you've written to someone and 3 months go by without hearing from the company. What can be more annoying than that? It's like you have no voice or your voice is not heard. So that's why it's important to have someone responsible within the organization to be alert of what's going on in your social media and respond promptly. Number 3, don't insult your competition. I know we see it on TV and in advertising we always say, you know, all is fair. You compare the 2 cars,
one is better than the other. You compare the two blenders, which one is best. But in social media, you kind of want to stay on track, stay on your lane, and don't move out. Just focus on yourself, on the work that you're doing, and present yourself in a positive way towards the people that are reading you or following you day in and day out. Don't waste your time. Trust me, if you start spending more time on the competition social media, your social media will just, keep on going down, down, down. Another one we have is ensure that your postings are share friendly. As I said before, especially with images, we do see that people do not post the pictures on the resolution needed to be shareable. Or they're either blurry or they're not well focused. Text links that you're sharing are not current, are not in a great format. So little things like that, tweak, test before you throw it out to the public. Because again, that becomes an image of you and your organization. Another one that we have are about the hashtags. And this is a tricky one because, the number of hashtags is a question that I get a lot. And that is really very personal. Some people are on the bandwagon of, don't use more than 6. And other companies are, put as many as you can and just throw them in there. Most importantly, I believe, are the qualities of the hashtags, things that are relevant to you. Because this way you kind of filter in between the public of who's listening what you have to say. If you're selling shoes only and you're hashtagging about, a restaurant down the block or jeans or a different brand, you're kind of like spreading yourself too wide. So you want to cater to the people that are shopping for those shoes and not going all across the board. So pick those hashtags wisely. Don't overdo on nonsense, I would say. Another one we have is to keep your professional and your business accounts separate. And even when consulting on, a corporation that is not looking for social media, but we find this also in the finance department. A lot of sole proprietors tend to have a gray line in between the monies, and we see that happening with social media as well. You have one account for convenience, you tend to use that one for everything. Well, no, your client is not interested in learning about your puppy or your neighbor down the street that has a pothole in front of the house. No, it's cute, it's adorable. I'm sure your children are wonderful, but the people that are coming in to buy coffee, how is that relevant to them? They specifically just want to know about your products and your business vision, your business mission. All of that should translate to your communications. So keep those accounts separate. If you have a personal Facebook, keep it for your family, your friends, there. If you have a business Facebook, it's all about your business, and that's it. So it's a black line and no grays in between. Another one is don't follow for numbers. And this we see, it's kind of dying down a bit, but especially a couple of years back, people will buy the numbers, will buy the likes, will go out of their way to follow 100 people a day, hoping to get 50 likes back or 50 follows back. It turns out that, once you look at it, half of it is bogus. Because people aren't following you because they've been to your store, your shop, have hired you for your services. It's just like an exchange. Oh, you like me, I like you. Does that bring any value or worth to your organization? No. So we want to make those likes and follows more meaningful. If you have 100 follows, of people that have actually been at your place or have hired you for your services, I can assure you that once you put a promotion out, a coupon out, inviting people for a special show at your business or something that's going on, that campaign will be successful. If you have follows for follows, they probably don't even live in your same state. So it's No one, really. So that's a tricky one. Make sure it's quality, not quantity. And last but not least, keep your brand consistent across all social media networks. Handling your logo. Make sure you have your logo properly displayed across all platforms. If you have some special colors, talk the same language across all media. If you're using a certain lingo, make sure it's the same one across the board. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrea. That was wonderful. We look forward to having you again at another seminar, learning more about that area. So thank you very much to our 4 speakers tonight. I would like to open up the floor for questions. Does anybody have any questions for anybody? Yes? Suma, do you want to pass this microphone, or are you going to?
If we could just have the questions from up here.
Good evening, everyone. My question is for, and I don't know where she went, Andrea. Oh, hi, Andrea. I think maybe you should have the people that are going to answer up here.
And Ileana,
Maybe we should switch.
Lancelot, and everybody can come up. Thanks. Would you like to sit down or stand up? You're okay? Thank you, Ileana.
So my question is for Andrea. I noticed that it was mentioned that you own 3 businesses. I myself own 3 businesses as well.
Yes.
And when it comes to social media, do you keep them apart? Like, do you have a website for each one? Do you have maybe a Facebook page for each one? Or do you have a main, like an umbrella, and then have each one trickle down from there?
No, it's separate. It's separate. It's like children. They're all individual. They all have different personalities, different missions. Think always mission and vision. I mentioned I have my consulting, I have my coffee import, so it's really not related, and food distribution. So maybe the food and the coffee, but still then I have separate accounts for all of them. And I would suggest you do the same.
And I always felt that way because mine is, I have a party room, I have children's entertainment, and I have an after school. And I've been told so many times to make an umbrella and then.
But okay, so is your corporation structured as an umbrella where all of them fall under? Or do you have
No.
different organizations?
Different
Yes,
organizations.
that's
Then
most
keep
likely the
them
case.
separate.
Yes, I mean, if you look at businesses, maybe like PepsiCo, where, they have their PepsiCo website, and you can click and maybe link through to other brands because they have all the logos there.
Okay.
But most likely, each individual business has its own name, so it's kind of like their own personality. They
Right.
stand alone independently, so keep it separate.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
You guys did a wonderful job with your presentation. I have one question. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name from Liana. Liana, I'm a mortgage broker, and
Yes.
I'm very concerned because I'm always exchanging emails with clients, and they want to attach their tax return and blah, blah, blah. And what I've been using is Dropbox. And I was told that that was a more secure fashion because, again, since we're processing loans, we have everything from Social Security numbers, tax returns, pay stubs, financial statements. What's your opinion in terms of a safe depository for
So I
documents?
think I can't speak to any specific brand, right? That's unfortunately I can't do that. But I think your point is very valid because even when I was going through the mortgage process, right, it's incredible the information. The bank that I was using, and also we at JP Morgan use something called Voltage, right? It's an encrypted component that encrypts everything I upload. It's a little bit cumbersome from, you first have to set it up, you have to download it and things like that, but I think peace of mind is, and I would also tell this, to clients, is peace of mind and knowing that your information is really encrypted is big. Some services like Dropbox, the information isn't necessarily encrypted. Okay, I would look for a solution that has very strong encryption. Because, in this day and age, it doesn't take much for somebody to be able to say, oh, you're logging on with your email, let me guess the password, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And people use very simple passwords. Another tool you can use is something called Secure Zip. You put a password on a file, right? You zip all the components, you password, and don't just in the next email write, and the password is, right? Figure out with your clients, because that's what most people do. They say, oh, I'm gonna email something, and I'll send you the password in the next one. I mean, the hackers are waiting for that, right? Come up with a password with your clients on the phone that you decide where it's not written down in an email. And use something like that, so you don't have to encrypt the whole email, but you can at least put password protect things. But I would look for very strong encryption on any solution.
Thank you.
Yep.
And could I ask a quick question? I'm sorry, from the social media? Yes. Very quick. I'm also the chairman with the Yonkers Hispanic Chamber, and we use Facebook a lot. And we're not very knowledgeable with Facebook. Is there anything you suggest so that small business owners and individuals can learn how to use Facebook better?
Well, like anything, in most cases, practice. Use Facebook. I'm very much of images. Images speak a lot. You're engaging, you're asking questions, maybe you're having trivia, so you can have that communication. Because that's what you want to do. You want to engage your public to come in and participate.
But is there any place you can go to learn
Oh,
how to be more
place.
functional with Facebook, other than trial and
No,
error?
not that I'm aware of. Sorry.
Anyone else? Yep. We have about 4 more minutes for questions.
Hi. Thank you. Just a quick plug. I'm John Mannion from Bronx Academy for Software Engineering. We got 440 kids who do 4 years of computer science, and we're getting a lot of budgets to pay students internships, and we want to place them in places like this, in startup environments, so they can get their really interesting educational experience there. I've got one question for Noella. Do you have a location for your bookshop yet?
I knew it was coming.
Me too.
So I'm currently negotiating a lease. I'm striving to open early 2018. And the space might be right under your nose, you never know.
Well, if you need help setting that up, we've got some great students from base, and let's
Thank
talk.
you very much. So I'll talk to you afterwards.
Yeah,
Thank
sure.
you.
I guess let me introduce myself. My name is Jason Canso. I'm running for City Council in the Bronx. I want to thank the Hispanic Chambers and these fine people for actually putting this together. I have 3-4 questions, I guess, but we will talk, I guess, after for the crowdfunding stuff. In regards to the banking and the Equifax,
Yes.
a question I have is, if somebody freezes their credit,
Right.
how will they be able to fix it and make it better if they have bad credit to begin with?
So that is, I think there is a plus and a minus, right? So when your credit gets frozen, you are freezing actually the number or the credit file. I think that is probably, I think this is always the balance between, okay, I have to fix my credit and also, but somebody could use my credit and make it even worse by opening more things in my name, right? I think that's the balance. You know what, I want to, given that this was, a big issue, I would love to speak to you afterwards and actually take your number and come back with you, because I'd love to go back to my firm as well and say, how do we fix this? So, and we can make that then more public. But I think, I know that's a great question, because people are dealing with different levels of credit, and then, but I think right now, given what it is, I would freeze it. I would freeze it first, right? Because the trouble that somebody can make and make it worse is first and foremost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
And
yeah.
for the social media stuff, I guess, can you give us some tips on how to really use it? How to, like, I guess that's what he was at, the other gentleman was asking. Like, yeah, we got Facebook, we got Reddit, we got Twitter, but how do you actually, like, use that? Where do you go to find out how to use it? Because sometimes we're good in Facebook, well, we suck at Twitter, you know?
Yeah. Well, to find out how to use it, as we said before, is more trial and error. Obviously, there are seminars out there, I guess, with universities and things like that. But a crash course per se, I have not heard of it yet. Again, I would strongly go back to your mission and the vision of your company, and that should give you somewhat of a guide as the parameters of how you want to communicate to your clients.
Thank you guys
Okay,
again
no
so
problem.
much. I got a QA question, but don't worry about it. No, it's fine. I guess, because then it's going to get into the business of how you actually do the QA stuff. So how you do the QA stuff? How exactly?
How do I do it?
Yeah, for what do you do for other businesses?
Oh, okay. So the way that our company works is we're contracted by any external company that's interested in using our services. So these are usually people or companies who don't want to outsource their work anymore. We can't compete with India on price at all. But what we can compete with them with is cultural vernacular, time zone difference, and overall language barrier. Because we hire the 18 to 30-somethings that represent the target demographic for these app consumers. The people who are spending $100 a month on lives on Candy Crush, those are the people that we employ. Your competitive gamers, your people who travel to go to Evo, like these are all of my employees. So that's usually how our process starts. Somebody reaches out, or one of us is in the field, and we get wind of somebody who is interested in the service, and we provide it.
Excellent, okay. Thank you.
Cool.
So I'm not a social media expert, but I utilize social media a lot during my campaign. I did not know how to use Twitter at all. I started Twitter as for the first time when I needed to, when I was launching my campaign. And anything that you need to know about social media is on YouTube. Go to YouTube, and there are tutorials for beginners to experts, and then they get into complicated terms. But if you're a beginner, anything that you need to know is on YouTube, and I really immersed myself to learn how to use Twitter and engage, and I was even able to get some celebrity backers by getting their attention on Twitter. So it's anything you want to know in this world, from Facebook to Twitter to Instagram to doing natural hair, it's on YouTube.
It's funny because we had so many, like at least 3 or 4 questions related to social media, and I think it's a little funny how the way to learn how to use social media is to use another social media conduit. But each and every one of them are essentially like different towns, boroughs. Twitter has different rules, Instagram has different rules, so does Facebook. If you want to attract attention, sometimes people, it's referred to as shit posting. They'll post terrible things just to garner any kind of traction whatsoever. They'll troll, they'll harass celebrities, and yeah, that'll get you engagement, but it won't get you the kind of engagement that you really want for longevity. So get the lay of the land. YouTube is definitely a good place to start, but I have to echo, trial and error is also not so bad. The internet is forever. Anything that you post is going to stay there. But if you're pushing a company and you're not an individual, I think you have a lot more latitude to make mistakes most of the time, depending on who you're engaging with. So just try it. And if anything, make a small page at first, just to kind of get the temperature of the water, and then hit harder a little bit later.
And I just have one question for Lancelot. Who should be using QA? Should you use it while you're setting up your website or before it launches? When is the best time for QA?
There is, I would say the best time is at the start. So the problem is you and your college buddy maybe got $10,000 and you graduated and you have whatever the next big app idea is. If the two of you sit down and you're both developers and you test your own project, it's akin to proofreading your own novel. You need another set of eyes on your work, And there can be different junctures in development, maybe alpha and beta stage, or maybe even after it's already in the App Store, you come to this realization that, man, we could have looked at this, or we looked at this another way. So it kind of depends. It depends on how far you want to go and where you see your success ladder. If you start to fall off and you're like, hey, they're killing us in the App Store, I wonder what it is that they hate about this. And it's just you and your partner and maybe two other guys, and you're the only people that have looked at it, you need help at that point. So it's all about seriousness and how far you want to go.
Can we just quickly go around the room, like letting everyone know your website, at least?
Hey, all right, once again, I'm Lancelot. I'm the CTO of Startup Box South Bronx. You can check us out on two different websites. One is sbsq.org. The other one is startupbox.nyc. We also have every social media platform. I just made our Giphy page last night. So any GIF animations you want to see related to Startup Box, they will be there and uploaded. So you can check us out on all three of those things.
Well, one is geraldofarms.com, angtrading.com, and unfortunately right now the Andesca is being revamped, so it's kind of off, so you'll see the little sign there for coming back soon.
I think jpmorganchase.com. We have a lot of information on security on that website, and as I said, I'll be happy to come back and also go into more detail, but yeah, we're obviously very interested in making sure people stay secure.
You can find me at thelitbar.com, and that will link you to all of my social media platforms.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, everybody, again. At this time, I want to once again thank JP Morgan Chase for sponsoring the event. I want to thank Salsa Caterers for the food tonight. Please don't leave without having a sandwich. They're delicious. I also want to thank Majora Carter again for hosting us tonight. Thank you very much. And I would love to have Cindy from the Chamber come and say a few words. She has been with the Chamber for many years, and it's a wealth of information and knowledge.
Thank you, Eileen. First of all, Eileen, thank you so much for such a wonderful job. You've always worked with us, and it's always fabulous what the turnout is. I also want to thank Sulma, because Sulma works like 24/7. We want to thank our president, Mr. Mick Lugo, for joining us, for being the brainstorm. On the table, we have some flyers. Please take them with you. It gives you information about the people that were here today, which is really, very important. It also gives you information about our conference in Puerto Rico, which is November 8th to the 13th. If you have any questions, you can reach us, you can talk to us. Sulma, we're always here available, so please reach out for us because we can always help you. If not, we'll find somebody that'll help you, by the way. Now I'd like to acknowledge our new members. Membership support is the only way that we're able to provide seminars like these, and we're asking you to remember to support their businesses. Our members are on your side, and if you call them, believe me, they will help you. On behalf of JP Morgan Chase and Company, Michelle Henry, please, if you could come up. Oh. You're welcome, Michelle. Thank you so much for joining us. On behalf of Andesca, Ms. Andrea Giraldo. I love your speech, by the way. Very nice, very informative. Thank you. We have Rivera y Montes. Thank you. And Startup Box. Again, thank you to everybody that attended today. Have a good evening. Drive home safely.
So we have a member here today from Zoraida's Coquito. So he has samples for all of us to test out before we leave today. Once again, thank you so much for being here with us. We have an amazing event next week called Made It in New York, Media Edition, where we'll be talking about the Nielsen numbers and the $1.3 trillion Hispanic buying power, and how we have influencers in the business that are paving the way to make it a more economically viable community for Latinos and our friends. So I'll see you next week in Berkeley College. Thank you so much.